Welcome everybody. Buckle your seatbelts because today we are sitting here with Dr. Vance Nichols from Alta Loma Christian School. This is a beloved brother, friend, colleague, and we've been through so much together. We agree on so much, but there's a theological lines we have to draw every now and then, and
but they're thin lines.
So even though he loves USC with a passion, we still love him. We still love him anyway. And today, if you are anxious about raising your children, if you're anxious about raising your grandchildren, we want to give you some practical tools that you'll walk away with by the end of this episode. You'll be communicating with your young people, your teenagers, your preteens. You'll be communicating with them better, and hopefully see yourself as someone who is able to be a positive influence in the life of your child, your grandchild, your nieces, your nephews. So not to overpromise or anything.
No, and I can hardly wait to find this out also. So this works out really well.
This will be good. So I met Dr. Nichols about 7 years ago because we worked together here at Solid Ground Church. For those very few who might not know you, might not heard of the legend of Dr. Vance Nichols, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
It's my 43rd year in education.
Okay.
40th in Christian schools. 11th here at Alta Loma Christian, which is just a remarkable place, most amazing school I've ever been at, and love being here. 4 kids, 6 granddaughters. One of them is with Jesus. And I am also an adjunct professor of organizational leadership at Los Angeles Pacific University. And I'm a field director for ACSI, Association of Christian Schools International, one of our accrediting agencies. Married to an amazing woman, Carol, who puts up with me on a moment-by-moment basis.
Hi, Carol. You're amazing.
Yeah, you are. And flowers will be coming. And just having, and grew up in a Christian home, but that home later disintegrated. Just as I was getting into college. And that's really when I really came back to the Lord, really surrendered to Jesus. Was at the end of college, 23, 24 years of age. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I had to put the seatbelts on because God said, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And been on that roller coaster, the good roller coaster that God is leading ever since.
Oh, yeah, I know a bit about that.
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
Well, I noticed as you were telling us about yourself, you mentioned your background, what you do. You mentioned that you have 4 kids. And then right before you had 6 grandkids, you stood up a little bit and your eyes twinkled. Can you talk to me about just what you've seen as a parent of 4 children and now grandparents? Can you talk to me about that journey a little bit of what you've seen raising kids?
I think that part of the thing that comes with being older is that as you become a parent and you're doing things for the very first time, you've never done them before, and you have parents that help. Your parents, if they're still around, try to help with that. But it's amazing to me that how much we don't know that we don't know.
Yeah.
As we're younger, and it's like, okay, well, how do I, what do I do here? What do I do there? One of your kids gets sick in the middle of the night. Well, call mom. Or what do we do? And those things. But as we get older and begin to add, hopefully some wisdom, some experience to that, then we begin to recognize, which things are really important. And part of it, especially when we're younger parents, and we're having to, we have to work. And you have to do those things. And they tend to, at the younger ages, to suck your time away, out of you. And begin to realize that the time part is the one thing you can't catch up with. You can't get that time back. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the older that we get, certainly the older I've gotten, to realize, gosh, I need to try to have more time, more time with my wife, more time with the kids. And then as the grandkids come along and there's this transition that happens where your kids are the ones having kids, and you see the same pattern, okay, because they're working hard and they're having to do the things that they're having to do, and so you try to, without lecturing,
Cannot.
because it doesn't work.
I'm picturing me with my kids.
Yeah. But you try so hard, as much by example, to share with them, hey, this time is really important. And I think if I could go back now, and I've talked to like our grown kids who are in their 30s and 40s now, about how important that time is, and trying to catch up even now with time with the kids, even though they're also parents, so that there's a sense of, hey, I have recognized at some point in my life what's really important, and ultimately it's about Jesus, right? It's about how God has called us to be family, and how He made family first. In the garden. I mean, before He created the formal church, He created the family. That was going to be the unit, right? So I think sometimes we forget that, and that has to do a lot of times with just time. Making sure we're spending that time together, and hopefully within a family system that loves Jesus, and that supports fellowship and the church and those kinds of things, where you have all of those supports that are really important. Yeah, that was the short answer. No, sorry.
That's great. I'm taking notes. Just this morning, I was looking through the memories when I wake up, I always see the memories. This is what happened. Yeah. It's like a digital journal. Right. And it was 10 years ago on my middle child's first day of school. And I'm 47, I think, 46, somewhere. Anyways, I'm crying this morning thinking she was 4 years old 10 years ago. She was going to TK, and that time. When I was 10 years ago, I was 36, people said, time is important. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got plenty of it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm about 19, 20 years ahead of you. And you find that at the older you get, the more things accelerate. And I remember my parents saying that, and they're saying, okay, yeah. But like you, it's like, oh, I got plenty of time. I'm this. And then suddenly you look, and life challenges have happened,
right.
A heart attack, open heart surgery, so you're just glad to be alive. And then you realize that the time that you do have left, it just gets faster and faster and faster. And so it's really incumbent upon you. And you have this compulsion, almost this impelling to say, okay, I have got to make the best of the time that I have, not take it for granted. And sometimes there's a pressure there that you just have to say, okay, God's given me whatever time I've got, and in that process, He will make good. He will redeem that time.
Yeah.
As long as especially if I'm mindful of it. And I think that's the challenge, right? Because we're all so busy. Everybody's so busy. It's a matter of saying, okay, in the middle of that busyness, I have to take some time. And so
that's wisdom.
It's not easy to do.
Sure.
But I think it's so true if we can do that. And that's something my wife has really helped me with is, hey, let's just make sure to try to take that time. Be intentional about taking the time. Because I think when we're young, we just kind of haphazardly, I'll take some time here. We'll have time here. Let's go.
All the time in the world, right?
All the time in the world. And but only the Lord knows how much time that is.
Right.
For each of us. Yeah. And I think there are things in our lives that underscore that.
Yeah.
To bring it to the surface. And the one granddaughter that we lost to brain cancer 15 years ago.
Wow.
Now, that was kind of the opening volley, if you will, where the Lord said, look, there's nothing guaranteed except for me. And so you follow me through all of these things, and they all revolve around family in some way. And so as you are living family, remember that I'm in the midst of you, and that even when these super hard things happen, when you lose a granddaughter and you watch your son as I go through the agony of it, that God's still there. And so no matter what difficulties we go through, God never leaves us or abandons us, and his heart breaks with us. And I think that's part of the strength of being in family and recognizing who God is and allowing God to be, that person who's always sitting at the table, at dinner time, the person who's always with us, is that he is not guiding us haphazardly. He's very intentional, and his intent is to bring us to him and to care for us. And if we will let him do that and agree with him in that, in spite of all the distractions and all the attacks of the enemy everywhere, but if we let God do that and be with him, then the rewards that are there, the things that we will see and notice that we wouldn't otherwise see or notice, they're beyond anything we could ask for or imagine. And so even in the midst of those things. Yeah.
That's a good something to hold on to hope for, because I feel time slipping faster and moving faster. I'm picturing certain nights in my own family where maybe it's been a busy few weeks and inertia has taken over. And by inertia, I mean the proximity of a device to a nose. And I come in as dad and say, all right, it's going to be a family night. I want to hang out with you guys, and I'm excited.
Right.
And we've set the table for some time together, and then I get the eye roll, or I'm feeling like, oh no, I'm torturing my kids by making them spend time with me.
Right.
Someone in a scenario like that, can you give us some wisdom to navigate that moment?
Just a couple ideas. One, and all of it, a lot of it depends on how old your child is.
Sure.
Having a sophomore in high school is way different than having a second grader.
Yeah.
So
Second grader complies.
Yeah. Usually, hopefully. Right. I think that one of the things is, especially when the child is younger, is being a parent. I know it sounds silly, but be the parent. And not from a forcing perspective. It's like, okay, so we're going to have this much time for screen time. And we have this much time for non-screen time. And here's some of the things that we're going to do. And then just kind of try to set that as early as possible.
It's good.
But then as the kids get older, the idea is that that time, whatever is done in that time, doesn't have to be something that is determined by the parent. Especially as the kids are getting older. Hey, kind of powwow if you have more than one child, or one child if that's what you have, and say, what would you like to do? What are some of the things that you think would be fun, or that would be interesting, or places that you might want to go? Because when they have a voice in it, it's a lot more, there's a lot better chance that it's going to be successful because it's something that they're looking forward to. So I think it's kind of like, you want to be able to have a mindset where you change it from the I have to do this to the I get to do this. That may take a little bit of time, but almost always it involves communication. It's like, okay, what are some things that you would like to do? And then as that communication happens genuinely, authentically, then you can begin to interact with those ideas so that they can look forward to it. So I know there's some generalities there, but again, the biggest thing is to change that heart set from the I have to do this and the eye rolls and everything to, hey, I get to do this. I get to do this with my family, so that they will want to protect that time. And so when they want to protect that time, it helps you because there will be times. There will be times when you will want to say, "Oh, I'm busy," and the kids will go, "No. This is our time." Now, when you get to that point, you've won. Okay, and you just have to sustain that, and that does happen, and part of it is just sticking with it. Things that are worth it. It's worth doing hard things. And we always grow when we do hard things.
So let's say you've moved heaven and earth and your family's together. And you're all sitting around the same table. And there sounds like these teenagers are speaking a different language. They're
are.
saying whatever they call you, grandpa, or
Yeah, I'm grandpa.
okay. Yeah,
Each one, you know,
if
each
it was-
one, and we have blended families, so there's lots of grandpas.
Okay,
but
lots
then
of
all are called
grandpas.
grandpa. Each one has their own distinct name, right? So mine's just grandpa. I like.
So you have a teenager that says, "Grandpa, I'm standing on business. You're not clocking with me because I'm acting like a skibbity toilet, and I'm trying to think of other." Now they call it brain rot. Is the language this new generation is coming, and they're calling it that. It's not.
Yeah. Right.
Where do you start to find a bridge? Because it's already hard generationally.
Right.
We all know that, but what are some practical tools?
The first one, and this is going to be very Alta Loma Christian School centric.
Great.
This is the greatest middle school staff I've ever served with, and they, if I'm confused about something or I hear something, go, what is that?
Yeah.
They can tell me. I mean, they stay up with, you know, how language shifts and how it shifts for middle schoolers and for, you know, secondary school students, and to the point where they, you know, they can be conversant pretty well within that with the students, which is a harder foreign language to learn than probably any other one, because it's constantly changing, fluid all
And
the time.
I'm not supposed to use any of those words I just told you. If my teenagers see this, they're going to roll their eyes and go, Dad,
really?
you can know what it means, but you can't use it.
Can't use it because that's not. It's like illegal for anybody that's not their age to use that language. Right. There is something though that it's really a great tool to use, and it's free, and anyone can sign up for it. It's called the Culture Translator.
The Culture Translator. We'll
comes
put
out-
this in the show notes. We'll put links to it.
And it comes out every week there's a nonprofit group out of Colorado Springs, and what they will do is they'll take 3 things in the news that week that affect the teenage generation and the younger generation, and they will break it down for you so that you understand it. And some of it has to do with language, some of it has to do with the cultural things, some of it just has to do with, hey, this is how they're seeing this, and how you can understand how they are feeling about it. It is huge. That's something, again, like I said, our teachers use, and then we recommend that to our parents. We just sent, at the beginning of each school year, we'll send home a link so that they can subscribe to that, the Culture Translator. And it's amazingly good. And having met some of the folks that actually do that at some conferences, I mean, their heart is for kids. And for families and for parents and anyone that really wants to understand, you know, where the kids' heads and hearts are at. Again, because way unlike when I was a teenager, the amount of information that they get, and we hear the term bombarded, but I think it's more invasive. And they don't realize how much they're being affected by things. And that's true for all of us, but especially when you're still learning about so many things.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's hard to filter. And I think that's where a tool like the Culture Translator and other tools help to parents to, first of all, know what in the world is going on. And second, to help with the filtering that their kids can learn about, you know, how do you figure out what's true, you know, and at what point do you have to say, hey, you know what, let me share with you how this might not be the case, or how something might be true. And at some point, invariably, if that's really going to be effective, you do have to go back to the Bible. You got to go back to Scripture, because it helps give the guidelines on what's true and what is not true. And some of that can be very overt. You know, hey, let's open and look at it. And some of it is not. It's the principles, because all truth is God's truth. And being able to share that with kids. In a Christian school situation, it's a little bit easier, just because we have them in place. But still, you have to bring the horse to water. So you have to be back to being intentional to bring them on a path where they don't just take off the trail. Oh, I see where you're taking me, because they're a lot more.
I've been on that horse before.
Yeah, a lot more savvy than we were, just because they
Right?
have to be.
Right?
Oh yeah, it's incredible, so that they can at some point recognize that if they really want to know truth, then they have to identify those things that don't change, and the only thing that really doesn't change is God and the things that He has said. And so, but being able to find out as much as possible about what the kids hear and see, and then finding a way that's acceptable to communicate with them, so that they know that they're heard and seen, and that they belong, and that they're loved and they're enough. That's a big deal, because the whole world will tell them, well, you're not going to be anybody unless you're just like this, or just like me, or just like whomever, not me, but whoever is giving the message. And so they need to know that, hey, you're made by God in His image. And first, the reality is, that's enough. That's not the messaging that we all get,
Right.
as kids or as adults.
So for those of us listening, the overwhelmed parent, the overwhelmed grandparent, can you give a couple parting just words of encouragement? Because we've given, what to do. What would you say to someone? They're right in front of you. They're saying, I'm stressed out. I'm worried about my kid.
Okay.
Help.
A couple of things. The first one is understand that God gets it. God understands exactly how you feel. He knows it. It's not a surprise to Him. And that should help, just by knowing that God is in this with you. That this is not something you are doing apart completely by yourself. Because that usually doesn't work. And so just the knowledge that He's got you. And He knows what you're trying to do. And that whole intent of the heart. God knows that. And so because of that, He's going to find a way to help bless that thing, to help make that thing work, to open hearts and minds, your kids, yours, grandparent, whoever it is. So that part of that is rest, as crazy as this sounds. Okay, so everything is always countercultural,
Right.
and counterintuitive. Is rest in the knowledge that your heart wants the best for your kids, your grandkids, and whatever time you can get, then you do that. And sometimes that's super, super intentional. Hopefully, a lot of times it is. But once in a while, something is, there's a spontaneous opportunity. Yeah. Take that opportunity to just, to draw closer, to enjoy time together, to have the kids and grandkids love that time. Because when they do, they're going to, it draws you closer, but they learn. They learn by what's happening. They learn from the experience of what you're doing. And so I think that helps. You just rest in the fact that God knows you're trying. And that He will give you the ability to do that. He'll give you the power to do it. He will be in the midst of that. Because sometimes again, back to the enemy, right? We think, oh, I'm in this by myself.
Right.
Even if you're married, the two of you, we're in this by ourselves, or whatever.
You got to figure this out.
But rest in that God knows.
Yeah.
He understands. He's there. He's with the victories and with the what are seeming defeats. But the idea we always build, right? Growth mindset. We always build on what has happened to do better the next time, whatever it is. I think the other thing, and this may be more for parents of school-age kids. I say school-age, preschool through 12th grade. Mm-hmm. One of the great advantages of a Christian school is that the teachers are working with the kids and with parents every day. Mm. At the same time, they're living in the same culture. The teachers are living in the same culture. And because of all of that, and that they're relating to everything and everyone at the same time, they have insight that a lot of other people don't have. Mm-hmm. And that is whatever grade level. I mean, from preschool up through middle school here, high school elsewhere. But there's something about being at a Christian school where those teachers, because they're all believers in Jesus, they see what's happening in the world, and they're creating in their classrooms a place where kids can grow up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord, where they can learn truth. And I know sometimes I've heard it said, well, kids in a Christian school, they're just in a bubble. They don't have not in touch with reality. That's not possible
Right.
in the 21st century. They're going to be in touch with reality.
Right.
So the truth is, from my perspective, out of 40 years in Christian schools, is that the kids in Christian schools are better prepared to deal with the real world because they know the truth. And they know how to try to navigate in difficult waters.
Yeah.
Because they have that North Star. They know who Jesus is. They know where truth is. And the kids that are coming out of a much different environment, non-Christian or not as Christian environment, sometimes it's hard to see the stars, let alone the North Star. And if they are prepared and know what the truth is and know who the truth is, then, and from my perspective, it's always been they're better prepared because they know who to turn to, and they know who is the one that navigates those seas, and he can be right in here, and in here.
That's so good. Thank you.
No,
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and thank goodness the conversation doesn't stop here. You're not limited to the wisdom that Dr. Nichols and I are sharing. So I invite you to keep this conversation going. Wherever you're taking in this content, please make sure if there's a like button, punch that one, a subscribe button. That lets whatever algorithm you're on know that this is content you would like to hear. Also, leave us your questions, your comments. You have wisdom to share. How do you make intentional time? How are you navigating that? How are you navigating the dynamics of the information deluge that goes towards all of us, not just young people every day? So we'd love to hear from you. That's the whole reason we're doing this. And just to also as a reminder, you don't have to figure this out alone. We'd love as a school, as a church, to come alongside families, to help you disciple your families and give you that encouragement and that you can make it, that you need as you go along. So don't hesitate to reach out to us or at our comments or at sgbic.com, or you can reach Dr. Nichols at alchristian.com. We'll have links to all these resources, other resources to help you in the comments, and we can't wait to see you again real soon. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us.